Washington, CNN. President Donald Trump became a household name for his catchphrase "You're fired." And in one way or another since taking office, he's seen a number of his top employees resign or removed. Here are a few of the biggest names to go and where they are now. The former three-star general embraced Trump about as hard as anyone during the 2016 campaign and became Trump's first national security advisor. His tenure ended after less than a month, during which he appeared in the White House press briefing room to announce Iran was on notice for testing a ballistic missile, and he went down amid reports he had misled Vice President Mike Pence about his contacts with then Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak during the transition. Since his ouster, Flynn has remained under intense scrutiny for his contacts with Russians during and after the election, as well as for his lobbying work, as several federal probes continue into Russia's efforts to influence last year's presidential election and any potential collusion by the Trump campaign. Flynn, who has kept a low profile, was issued congressional subpoenas earlier this year, and The Wall Street Journal reported on Friday the special counsel investigation helmed by former FBI Director Robert Mueller is looking into whether Flynn tried to obtain Hillary Clinton's emails from Russian hackers, citing people familiar with the matter. Start date, January 20, 2017, was Deputy Attorney General in Obama administration Yates, a holdover from the Obama administration, was asked to stay on briefly and lead the Justice Department until Jeff Sessions was confirmed as Attorney General. But Yates went on to defy Trump, ordering the Justice Department not to defend Trump's, now rescinded and replaced, controversial executive order banning travel from several majority Muslim nations. Yates contended the order was unlawful, and Trump fired her. Yates, as a former top Justice Department official, has also re-emerged in Washington to testify about the investigation into alleged election meddling by Russia. Meanwhile, she has built a sizable following on social media, and as a prominent Democrat from Georgia, she has generated a stir among local political minds that she may one day be a viable candidate for office in a state overwhelmingly represented by Republicans. In an interview, Yates said she would not run for governor of Georgia but acknowledged she may have a voice she previously did not. Like Yates, Bharara was a Justice Department holdover from the last administration, a U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Trump's home state of New York. And like Yates, Bharara, too, has not kept quiet. He went on Twitter shortly after his firing to announce what had happened and continues to build a following on social media. He's spoken about his tenure and his interactions with Trump in public remarks and interviews, saying Trump tried to speak with him during the transition. What followed accelerated the pace and nature of the investigations into the Trump campaign, including the appointment of Mueller as a special counsel. Comey said after his firing that Trump had reached out to him several times and indicated he wanted the Justice Department to stop investigating Flynn. He also said the president later told him he hoped Comey could find a way to get out that Trump wasn't being investigated as part of the Russia probe. Comey made records of these conversations in a series of memos and spoke at length in a public hearing of the Senate Intelligence Committee in June. Apart from that, Comey has rarely been heard in public, although his shadow continues to loom over the president. People can expect to hear from him in some capacity soon. However, Howard University announced Comey would be the college's convocation speaker this fall. Jumped into the center of the political world all at once in July and left just as quickly. A New York hedge fund manager, he had been a prominent TV surrogate for the president during and after the campaign. Once he became the White House communications director, he immediately began offering a series of colorful answers and revealing anecdotes in interviews, including discussions of his private conversations with the president. About a week in, Scaramucci made his now infamous comments to New Yorker writer and CNN contributor Ryan Lissa. The crude remarks rippled across the internet and were followed shortly thereafter with a note of contrition, an attack on Lissa and the ouster of Reince Priebus as chief of staff. Priebus' replacement, former General John Kelly, was brought in with a mandate to bring order to the White House, and in one of his first official acts as chief of staff, he got rid of Scaramucci. The Mooch, as Scaramucci called himself, waited a few days before getting back on television and doing interviews. He has continued to keep up a public presence, tweeting about his episode in the White House, and is reportedly scheduled